This content is sponsored by BCW Supplies. Visit them at bcwsupplies.com. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. This video is a continuation of a live stream that I actually did earlier in the week. And it was a live stream in which I showed you guys some major keys that I picked up as part of a cash trade deal. And in that video, I mentioned that there were some other books that I picked up. Books that were designed to fill gaps in my run of Amazing Spider-Man. And while I didn't show these books in that video, I did want to record this video so that I could actually share those books with you guys. There's not a whole lot special in this run, but they are important books because they fill a gap, and there's also some pretty cool artwork on many of these books. If you did not see that earlier live stream, I definitely encourage you to go check it out, and I'll actually give you a taste of what I showed in that video in this video. So what I'm going to do is to show you the ASM haul, and then I'll show you on the back end of this video a couple of the books that I picked up that I showed in the previous haul, and hopefully that serves as an enticement for you guys that did not see that video to actually go back and watch that one. So let's go ahead and jump into these books. And oh, by the way, stay tuned until the end of the video because I'm actually going to give a shout out to some recent subscribers to the channel. So if you recently subscribed, you definitely don't want to miss that because you just might see your name mentioned. So the first book, and I think these are in order, but don't hold me to that. The first book is Maximum Carnage. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 380. A really cool book here. This is, I think, part 11 of 14. 11 of 14. Things look bleak for Venom and his pals. Pretty cool book right there. Next up, this is an awesome book. Some awesome foil magic going on here. Power and Responsibility Part 2. This is Amazing Spider-Man 394. Really cool book there. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to pick up the that foil magic, but we'll see. So there you go. That's a cool book. And these are not in order, so sorry about that. We have Amazing Spider-Man 288 Gang War. Little is that Mockingbird, Falcon, and Daredevil right there. Some Kingpin action. Cool book. I think this is I think one of the last ones in that Gang War story arc. So definitely pleased to have 288. Next up, we have 296, little Doc Ock action. Definitely prefer the earlier Doc Ock when he had the severe bowl cut versus this one, but still a cool book. So these are all out of our order. So this is Maximum Carnage 7 of 14. Deathlock was big. What is this? 379. Deathlock was so big back in the 90s. He was everywhere back in the 90s, including a lot of Amazing Spider-Man books. So here is, I don't know what order these things are in. Amazing Spider-Man 344, some cardiac and rhino action. I want to say I have one copy of this right now, but it's a little damaged. So that's why I went ahead and picked up a second copy of this particular book. ASM 297, Doc Ock is back. Still a little pudgy there, little pudgy Doc Ock, but definitely a cool book to have. 402. This is a pretty straight through run of books that I had completely missing from the collection. That was 402. Here is 403. And most of these books are in really great shape. 404. But what I realized as I was putting together and running through my boxes is that I had a major gap in the 300s and certainly in the 400s. Here is 405. Really cool cover there with the, I think that's the Ben Reilly costume. I'm not sure if that's Ben Reilly. I haven't read many of these books, but that's a really cool one. Here is 406. And so what I've been trying to do is to pick up as many of these Amazing Spider-Man 407 as I possibly can. And what I've been able to do, thankfully, for by and large, is actually pick many of these books up for trades. I haven't actually been using a whole lot of cash to do some of this. I've actually been able to trade comics with a lot of people in the YouTube and also the Instagram community. Here is 409. Another really cool book there. This one is just a crazy, interesting cover that I can't wait to read this book. This is Web of Carnage Part 2 of 4. This is ASM 410. Really cool cover there. Looking forward to reading all of these. I've been reading a lot of these on Marvel Unlimited. Here is 411. When my parents are actually in town, as many of you guys know, and my father came in the room here, here's 412, and he was asking, you know, if I read the books, right? Because he sees so many of them on the wall. And I'm like, yeah, I read them, just not those copies. Here is 413, and I had to remind him of the fact that I have, you know, online subscriptions. And so Marvel Unlimited 414 here is a great way for me to go to actually be able to read these books versus taking them out of the plastic. But some of these I'll probably actually take them out and read them. Here is 415. Says Onslaught. I wonder if this is a crossover from the X-Men Onslaught series or story arc. Here is 416. Actually, it might be, because I think with Onslaught, what happened was, which was a combination of Magneto and Charles Xavier, Spider-Man did cross over, and I think what happened is that the heroes actually jumped into Onslaught, and that's why this Heroes Farewell might, that's what kind of teed my memory up to that. So I'm looking forward to reading those, because I've watched a couple of videos on that Onslaught series, and it seems like it's an interesting story arc. I just have not gotten around to reading it because I've been reading so many of the earlier ASM and also X-Men books. Here is 417. Not necessarily the craziest about this particular cover. Here is 418. Not sure who is doing the artwork at this point, but little different there. Here is 419. And here is 420. Someone actually recently, what is this? 'Twas the night before X-Man. Someone actually reached out to me who knows that I'm a big Spider-Man fan and was asking me questions. Here's 421 about the various series for Amazing Spider-Man and continuity and how to actually put together a full run. Here's 422, because as you guys know, Marvel has had a lot of reboots over the years. Here's 423, and trying to follow essentially this comic from 1 to 801 is not an easy thing to do. Here's 424. So I actually sent an email over to Marvel asking for some guidance on how to, you know, look at the continuity of Amazing Spider-Man across the various volumes, across, you know, the Superior Spider-Man stuff that they were doing. And it took about 3 days, and they finally responded to me. Here's 425. And they responded to me by directing me to Wikipedia. Here is 426. And I clicked the link, and the answer wasn't quite there, and I haven't had a chance to dig into it, but I'm hoping that the link that they provided actually answers my question, because if not, I'm definitely going to be disappointed in the support staff over at Marvel Unlimited, or I should say Marvel.com. Here is 427. This is a really cool cover. It takes me back to the Doc Ock wins story arc. I think that's Amazing Spider-Man 55. This one takes me directly back to that. This one is nice, but that original is still my favorite. This is one of those homage covers that you see all the time, and while they do it really well, it still isn't that original book. Here is 428. This Doc Ock possibly is the worst Doc Ock ever. But I'm hoping, here is 429. For those of you out there that are Amazing Spider-Man fans, I'm hoping that I'll be able to potentially put together a video that kind of highlights the whole continuity of Amazing Spider-Man for those folks that are out there trying to put together a run. And as you guys know, my focus is really in those low number Amazing Spider-Man books, but where I have an opportunity to pick up some books in the 200s, the 300s, the 400s, I'm definitely going after those opportunities. And so my hope is to put together this video, not just for myself, because I want to see how it's all connected, but also for those of you you out there that are fans that want to know how the continuity kind of flows. And I think that maybe the two biggest books in that entire run that I just showed are these two that I'm about to show right now. This is 430 Amazing Spider-Man When Carnage Comes Calling. Keep the body bags handy. This is a Carnage Silver Surfer story arc. I think it only lasted maybe 3 issues, and this is, I think, where it started here. This is where Cletus Cassidy actually, I think he breaks out, and he was dying of cancer. And it was an interesting story arc. I actually just read this one, but they kind of blend, as you guys know. And then here is where I think Silver Surfer basically gets the Carnage symbiote. This was pretty cool. Amazing Spider-Man 431. It's an interesting cover. I would have preferred to see the Carnage Silver Surfer Symbionite maybe rendered a little bit differently than this, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. And rocking the BCW archival bags have things looking pretty good. But anyway, this is I think one of the better books out of that entire run that I just showed. So definitely some cool stuff in there. So as promised, we are now going to jump into a couple of the major keys that I showed in the previous live stream for those of you that may have missed this. So let's go ahead and check those out now. So starting off with New Mutants number 98. And so I have a copy of this book now. Well, I have 2 copies. I'm actually giving 1 copy away. And so when I had an opportunity to pick up a few more copies of this book, I wanted to make sure that I did that. So I ended up picking up 3 additional copies of New Mutants 98. 2 of these are actually newsstand. And I think my third back there somewhere is also just a direct edition. So these couple of newsstands, those more than likely will be like 9.4s or higher is my guess. Each one is in really, really solid shape. Also picked up 3 copies of Amazing Spider-Man number 300. These are not newsstand, all direct, but all of them are in amazing shape. Also expecting these to be 9.4s and above. At least that's the hope, right? And then the last set is New Mutants 87, first appearance of Cable. A couple of really cool books here as well. So again, this is just part of what I showed in that previous live stream. So if you have a chance, swing by and check that video out. Maybe you will enjoy it. As always, guys, I want to thank you for hanging out with me for just a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as I mentioned, stay tuned because I'm about to give a shout out to a couple of new subscribers. Take care. Be sure to visit BCW Supplies to learn about their 950 plus products for collectors. Products include card sleeves, display cases, comic bags, storage boxes, and gaming folders, just to name a few items. Head over to bcwsupplies.com today for more information.